Barbados is in an interesting point within its development. As one of the fastest developing islands in the Caribbean, its infrastructure has greatly progressed since its colonial era. This development is quite evident in the architecture of the island. The landscape that was once plagued by the architecture that symbolized England's dominance on the ample plantation fields has gradually been replaced by symbols of modernity and a new, free identity. However, as these symbols of oppression are removed and dilapidate, their architectural antithesis may follow suit. Namely, the chattel house stood tall as an icon of resistance, the counterpart of the plantation house. Chattel houses were designed by the African population after the abolition of slavery. With laws prohibiting black people to own land at the time, chattel houses became a prominent feature in the landscape as it could be assembled and disassembled with ease to be transported elsewhere if kicked off of land. These small wooden buildings were once all across the island, but now the contemporary era sees little value in them and their architectural style. As the work of the oppressed, the chattel house was looked down upon by the upper class. Unfortunately, their underappreciation as a work of architecture is still prevalent today. Instead, a homogeneous global style is being adapted, and thus, these relics of colonial resistance are slowly being erased from the landscape. But what is the reason for this phenomenon?
I had a scholarship. I could go to Germany to study. So now, I suppose I don't need to explain to you how great a privilege it is for me to be standing before you today. From Gando, my home village in Burkina Faso, to Berlin in Germany, to become an architect is a big step. So, but what to do with this privilege?
Kere is one of many architects who studied abroad and brought their skills and knowledge to their homelands. However, in learning about new techniques and ideologies, some have forgotten older traditions. The loss of the chattel house, or more specifically, its essence, within the Barbadian landscape is undoubtedly linked to Barbadian architects choosing globalized architecture as precedents for their local work. One would expect them to use the chattel house's rich history with more intensity than what is currently being practiced. It must be noted that only one school of architecture exists within the Caribbean, the Caribbean School of Architecture in the University of Technology in Jamaica. Thus, most architects, if not trained there, are schooled abroad, and this begs the question of whether their design choices are influenced by their education. Given the rich history and cultural importance, you would expect contemporary Barbadian architecture to implement some type of chattel house qualities. Sadly, this is not the case, as the designers of this generation opt for a more globalized style. But why? It appears as if Barbadian architects see the chattel house and its qualities as unsuitable for modern times. But is this true? Does the retention of the chattel house imply stagnation in the island's growth? Can the chattel house exist in the contemporary era, either retrofitted or overhauled to match a current Barbados while retaining its old culture? Is there a possibility for an architectural creole to be achieved? And if so, should it be achieved?